Good evening, friends. I am here today to do the staff update. Two things I want to talk about today. First, Michelle Parker's funeral, her celebration of life, and then the second about where we are at 1 year later in the pandemic. First of all, Michelle lived such a God-filled life, and we are so honored to be able to accommodate her celebration of life during the pandemic. We have about 100 seats in the sanctuary that we can fit safely, and we have 50 seats of overflow in the Family Life Center. And then beyond that, we also have parking lot capability that we will be streaming the service on FM radio. So I know that Michelle touched so many lives, and so hopefully we will be able to accommodate everyone who will come to celebrate her. I know that we were all trading stories about how Michelle entered our lives, and it is just an incredible story of how many people she really affected and touched, not just at our church, but Pflugerville and the community and the animals. And we are really in prayer this week for Jason and for Jonathan and for Michelle too. We miss you, friend. 1 year later, the pandemic today, it's kind of where were you stories. Where were you when the pandemic started? I know that we had heard grumblings. There were reports that have been coming out since about January, February, but a year ago today is when really it hit the fan here in Austin, at least locally. I know that I had my kids' fun run 1 year ago today, and we went to the park afterwards, and all the parents were on their phones, and it was just, this was being canceled, the rodeo, Disney World closed. I mean, it was just this shock. And I remember the next day was a Friday. I had a play date with some of our friends. Our old pastor Valerie Voigt was there, and we were talking, and we actually canceled service for that first Sunday. I don't know if you remembered. It was so long ago, we were all trying to remember, but that first Sunday we did not have service, and it was probably like the first Sunday ever that we didn't have service at PFUMC. That's how much we didn't know about the situation. And I think of how far we've come 1 year later, and that we're still virtual. But I want to acknowledge how far that we've come, but I also want to acknowledge the pain and the grief that we have been through during this year. I don't think that it is trivializing anything to say that we have all suffered collectively. And I want to tell people it's okay if a year later you are still in grief, if you are still having a hard time. I think that we're all still struggling, and it's not something that we are going to get over anytime soon. And I know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel with people getting better and with the vaccine, but we still need to acknowledge this very traumatic event that we have all been through. And so that leads me to another thing that I want to say. If you are suffering, if you feel like you are alone and you have no one to talk to, and you are just being buried by the weight of everything, it doesn't even have to be the pandemic, please reach out to us. I know that it's putting a lot of personal responsibility on you, but as ministers, as clergy, as staff of the church, since we are not in a physical building, it's hard for us to put eyes on all of our parishioners, and we just don't want to miss anyone who is suffering. And if we can help just one person express their feelings, or just have a person to talk to, we are there. My number is on the website. Misty, Russell, Aaron, any one of us you can reach out to, email, text. We are here for you. And even if you just text and say hi, hello, how was your day? We will all respond back. And you don't have to say it out loud if you don't want to. You can say, I'm having a hard day, and we can go from there. But we feel like there are people who are suffering in our community, and we need to help them. We need to just wrap them in God's love. And if you have a neighbor or a friend that you notice maybe who is off, or you haven't seen them in your virtual small group, let us know and we'll reach out. If you don't feel comfortable, you can slip their name to a Stephen minister. That's always a resource too that we have on hand. We are still here for you, church, even though we are not in the physical building. We are still here for you, and we are praying for you. And if we can touch one person, and if we can help one person to prevent anyone from negative thinking or harming themselves, we want to be there for you. And I know that I kind of sound like a broken record 1 year later, but we know that we continue to grow in our faith and God's love, but one of the ways that we can grow in our faith is also realizing that we are human and we are not perfect. And when we are able to ask for help, or ask God, or lean into God's love for His guidance and faith, that we grow stronger as people. And Jesus's number one was to help people, and that's what we're here for. So again, please, if you know of anyone, or if you are someone who needs help, please let us know.